Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's Mialisia Power Hour. Today's topic is going to be incredible, so gear up. Anna Jess is going to be talking about overcoming adversity and the true meaning of you are of infinite worth. As you all probably know, we always include a card with all of our orders that says you are of infinite worth. It's a message that we are adamant about spreading throughout the world and the jewelry industry, especially as women. It's important to remember that you're of infinite worth. And so we're so excited to have Anna kind of talk about this message and share some stories and experiences on that. Before we jump in, I just want to talk about a couple of quick things. A lot of you have been taking advantage of the Mialisia Madness promotion. It's been an awesome promotion. A lot of people are getting free stuff, great discounts, rewards. A couple of things to keep in mind. As you're recruiting through this month, your new recruits are earning jewelry credit, or we're calling it Mia Money, which will be assigned to their account. However, especially if they are Canadian recruits, they won't have access to their Mia Money through their back office because it's not open yet. It's not live yet. So if they do want to purchase business materials or whatever, be sure to tell them that they can redeem their Mia Money by calling in to customer support, and they can place orders and redeem that credit through support. If they are American designers, then they should be able to access their Mia Money through their back office, but you may just kind of need to walk them through that a little bit. It would be great if everybody were training their new team members on how to use their back office anyway, just tricks and tips, and this is what I like to do, and this is where you go for this. That way they're not so overwhelmed by so many new things to learn. So make sure that you're reminding them of that. And then another thing is that when your customers get their discounted piece, their piece for $15, we have now started sending out auto confirmations on every order, which is awesome. Now customers have access to their invoice and tracking information, and so the auto responders are really, really great. The problem is that autoresponder is sent out immediately after the order is placed, and what's happening is that the order is being placed, and then the designer is calling in to add this extra piece to the order, and so we go in and edit the order before it gets shipped out, which means that the autoresponder will not include the $15 piece. We've had several customers calling in saying, I know that I paid for this, but it wasn't in the email. So maybe if you can just quickly remind them, you're going to get an email order confirmation, and it's not going to include this piece because there's an extra step to adding the discount, but don't worry, it's on there. Just reassure them just so that they kind of know. So anyway, Mialisia Madness goes all the way through March, so you have another week to take advantage of this promotion. I can tell you that the month of April is going to be full of showering you with fun promotions and discounts and things like that. Some things in the Mialisia Madness promotion will be going away, so be sure that within the next week you're recruiting, signing up, holding fashion events, ordering pieces. Encourage your customers, encourage your fashionistas to be taking advantage of this last week of March. And then we'll have some other stuff going on in April, which is going to be awesome. So take advantage of March while you can and look forward to April. It's going to be great as well. And that's pretty much everything that we have for this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Anna.
Thank you. How are you doing today, Michael?
I am doing well. How are you?
Doing great. So, yeah, I'm so excited to be on this call this morning. And as you already mentioned, I'm going to be talking about overcoming adversity and also some best practices to strengthen your brand as a Mialisia designer. And first of all, I wanted to give you a little bit of background on myself. And as I'm talking today, I know that every single one of you listening has a story where you have had to overcome something hard in your life. And so I know that I'm not unique in this. But I want you to think about those times that were hard for you and how you got through it, and that you can do really hard things and come out on the other side with some great lessons that maybe you can help with others. So first, I am an artist, and growing up when I was 2 years old, I had to have glasses. And back then, in the 70s. It wasn't cool. You didn't have fun styles, and so it just, like, killed my self-esteem because I got teased all the time. So that was horrible. And so when I went into high school, I was your typical kind of overachiever, straight A's, honor society, varsity tennis, I did cheerleading, I was a leader in my church, swim team, AP classes, and just on and on. And the crazy thing is I could handle all of it. So it was great. So college, the same deal. You know, I went to Utah State on a scholarship and, you know, student government and, you know, working as a graphic designer part-time and, you know, helping women in my church, leading over 100 women. And it was just involved in everything, going 100 miles an hour all the time. And then I also served a mission for my church for a year and a half when I was 21 and graduated from Utah State with my Bachelor's of Science in Art. And then when I got home, I got married, and then my crazy pattern continued in the workplace of just doing and going over and above all the time. And I remember performing, you know, 20 to 40% better than my peers and the amount of the work I could do. And so this was kind of like my shell. This was what other people could see and what I put forward, you know, to the world. And I believed truly that it was what I could do that made me worthy of love. Because I could do all those things, that I was a worthwhile person and that people should like me because of what I could do. And I didn't think anybody would like me if I couldn't excel in everything. And so as our marriage went on, I had my first baby. I have 3 boys. And after I had my first son, I kind of got sick, and I didn't know what it was, and went to the doctor. And about 4 months after I had my first boy, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And I hated it because I couldn't do as much as I normally could, and I didn't feel like I was even being a good mom. And my self-esteem rested on being able to be good at everything. So when that lifted and I got better, I was so relieved. Like, okay, now I can get back to, you know, doing it again so that people will love me and that I feel worthwhile. So after my second son was born, I got help right away because I knew what was wrong, and I got back to normal in just a few months. Then in 2009, I had my third boy, and this time it was different. And it was really scary, and I felt out of control, and it was more intense than the postpartum depression that I had suffered earlier. And I tried to get help, and I wasn't getting better. I saw 3 different doctors, and it was actually getting worse. They were treating me with just an antidepressant, and so it just wasn't working. And this went on for 8 months. And my life just literally fell to pieces. I couldn't function. I couldn't take care of my kids. I had thoughts about hurting myself and also my baby. And it was scary. And I remember not wanting to tell any of my friends what I was struggling with because I thought they wouldn't let their kids come and play with my boys. And so I just had these irrational thoughts all the time. And it was very, you know, lonely. And my poor husband, I mean, he had to do everything, feed the kids, take care of everything, and basically I just wasn't even functioning. So finally I got desperate enough that I just started asking everybody I knew if they knew a doctor who specialized in postpartum depression, a psychiatrist, and I just kept asking and asking. And I read books, and I just couldn't figure out what in the world was wrong with me. So I knew what bipolar I disorder looked like because I've experienced that in my own family, but I knew that wasn't what I had. So I was just searching for what else it could be. So one day I was talking to a friend, and she said, I know exactly who you need to go see. It's my doctor, and he was the head of psychiatry at the department at the University of Utah. His name was Dr. Grosser, and truly the only reason why I got in, he wasn't taking new patients, was because of my friend's referral, and it was her doctor. And he also wanted to see me because he thought I was an interesting case because I'd seen other doctors, and he thought that he could fix it. I love doctors and their egos, so this time it was fantastic. It got me help. And I still remember the first visit. I'm in the elevator at the University of Utah, and I'm going up to floor number 5, and the door's open, and I see this huge sign that says, Department of Psychiatry, and I was just dying. I'm like, really? I am walking in to the psychiatry department. It was hard. I didn't want that, stigma or whatever. And so, but I knew I had to get better, and I had that desire to get help. And this doctor truly saved my life, and he knew exactly what my disorder was, and he could put a name to it. And so then we could start treating it, and it's actually bipolar 2. And I didn't even know there were 8 types of bipolar disorder. Bipolar 2 is very high functioning. And if you look back in my high school and college years where I was able to do like kind of extra amounts of things, that's also a symptom. Postpartum depression was a symptom. So it was great to just have that diagnosis. But in my mind, I kept thinking, now, people are going to know that I'm sick. I didn't want to be sick. And after my second appointment, I remember driving home. My husband drove me home, and we were at a stoplight, and I had the thought, now the secret is out. Clint knows that I'm not really that special because I can't do anything anymore. And I truly thought I was no longer worthy of love. And I really thought that he would leave. There was no reason for him to stay and have to take care of someone who was going to be sick the rest of her life. And so that was really hard. That's what I had in my thought, and that was kind of the lie that I had told myself throughout my life. And then we started this roller coaster of treatment, and it took 5 more months to just stabilize me. And these awesome medications, there's weight gain, so that was great for how I felt about myself. It's great. Now I'm getting, gaining weight. But I knew that I needed to get better. But it was hard. This is a struggle that I'm going to have for my entire life. And my sweet husband, of course he loved me, even though I couldn't do all of those things. And so I'm just so grateful for the good doctors and family who literally saved my life and the life of my boys. And so like I said, I know every single one of you listening has had something really hard come your way, and you've come out on the other side as a survivor. And this is something that will actually, it connects us together, and especially as women. And we have the opportunity as we interact with women all the time to share some of our stories with others so that we can help them. And one thing that really attracted me to Mialisia was the message of enhancing women's inner beauty. And I could really relate to this. And I'm still learning that my worth comes from what is inside of me. And I know that I want to help as many women as I can to learn that for themselves. And I know we can do this one piece of jewelry at a time, one little card at a time, and one infinity charm at a time. And my experience and expertise is in graphic design, and I have been working in the marketing field for over 18 years. And so today I wanted to share some ideas with you on how you can help your Mialisia brand. So first of all, what is branding? We talk about this word all the time. And so a brand is an intangible asset, but it's also your most valuable asset. So I want you to, I'm going to say a company, a name of a company, and I want you to think in your mind what pops into your head. So if I say Nike, think of what kind of pops into your head. What about Disney? So you are going to have these ideas come to your mind, and even words like maybe just do it or the happiest place on earth, and that is their brand, those intangible thoughts that we have and feelings towards a company. And one company that I just have been so impressed with who has been doing this really, really well is Dove. And their slogan is Real Beauty. And they have been aggressively rebranding their product for the past 10 years. And they did a global study, and this study was done in 2004. And the findings from this study were just alarming. And this campaign wanted to start a global conversation about how we need to widen the definition of beauty. And one thing that the study found is worldwide, only 2% of women would describe themselves as beautiful. 2%. That's worldwide. And so since 2004, and when they did that research, Dove has employed various, just tons of communication vehicles to challenge beauty stereotypes. And in 2010, they evolved their campaign and launched an unprecedented effort to make beauty a source of confidence, not anxiety. And it's the Dove movement for self-esteem. And I just think this is one example of a company that has invested, over 10 years and millions of dollars into their brand. And so I want you to know that branding really is powerful, and that you as an independent business owner have a lot of control over your brand and what people are going to think about you. And so first, why are you going to manage your brand carefully? Why are you going to invest time into this intangible asset? Well, proper branding will result in higher sales, bottom line. And higher sales will give us more resources to help others, to help ourselves and our families, and to help other women. And so I want you to think about, what are some of the pieces of your brand? So as an independent Mialisia designer, what are some of the pieces of your brand? And number one is your customer interaction, your customer service. I love Stephanie and Sherry's information about hostess coaching. That is truly great customer service. You're helping her, your hostess, earn those credits so she can feel successful and have those things, those pieces of jewelry that she loves. So your customer service is a big piece of your brand. Also, our jewelry's competitive advantages, and also our company's competitive advantages. So we have a lot of things that we can focus on to build our brand as independent designers. And so when you're branding your business, you're going to want to focus on features that are distinctive from all the other party plan jewelry companies. And so you're going to want to talk about these often. What are the things that make Mialisia unique or special? And so there's two of those that I want to talk about today. And the first one is the concept of the hooks. That is a huge distinctive feature. And then the second thing that I want to talk about is the story of our founder, Annalise. Those are the two things that can really strengthen your brand. So number one, we want to connect our customers to the concept of the hooks. And so how do we do that? What are some ways that we can do that? And number one is you want anybody that you come in contact with, or your customers, to physically touch and create things with the jewelry. And Stephanie Cohn and Mindy had an event over this weekend, and they had this great sign that said, once you look, you'll be hooked. So we want to make sure that they know this is a huge advantage to our jewelry, are these hooks. And sometimes because we already love the concept. We don't think we need to talk about it as much anymore, but that's the wrong way to think. We need to talk about it even more than we were before. And Mialisia, as a company in launch phase, we're an emerging brand. So everything that we do is going to help build this foundation of what women will think of when they hear the word Mialisia. And so this new concept of the hooks is brand new to most of the population. And so one of our jobs is to tell this story and educate people about this new jewelry as many times as we can. And so one tip is when you post your photos on social media, talk about the hooks a lot. Show the hooks more often. And as designers, we kind of get tired of seeing those images, but 99% of the country has never even seen the images. So just keep going. And one thing you can do, if you have been around since the launch of the company in, say September, October, November, go back through your social media and just cycle through those images that you posted in those early days, because your audience is now vastly different and maybe even a little bit more broad. So you can actually go back through and save yourself some time and find those posts and those images and repost them, because most of your people haven't ever seen them before. And even if they have, they're not going to remember from 6 months ago, and it's going to help to strengthen your brand. The other, another idea is a brag book. And for you that are new, there is a file, or there's a link to a Walgreens photo album on the Mialisia picture sharing page. And what this is there are over 80 photos that you can have printed at your local Walgreens, pick up, and just put into like a photo album. So you know how grandmas have kind of like their brag book of all their grandkids. Well, you're going to have a Mialisia brag book. And I actually have a smaller one that only has maybe 15 4x6 photos that I keep in my purse. And everybody that I see gets to look at this Mialisia brag book. And it's really economical. You can usually print all those photos for less than $10. And Walmart is a great place to get some photo albums. They have them for $1. The one that I have in my purse, I got for $1. So you can have these in multiple places. And sometimes I'll even leave it, like if I'm at the beauty salon or something, I will leave that brag book there for pennies. They're going to really get the idea of the hooks. And you're going to want to use the catalog, of course. And what the photos do for the brag book is a supplement to the catalog. And the brag book just shows lots of different ways to use the jewelry on everyday people. And so people really connect to that, and they kind of get the idea of the concept of the hooks. Another idea, if you are looking for ways to strengthen your brand in your community or in the area that you live, is you need to connect with other people who are kind of your target audience. And so one idea that I had is find a beauty school, in your area. And what you're going to do is you're going to go and find the director of the school and tell them that you have a challenge for the students. And what you'll do is you'll provide the school with a few pieces of jewelry, and those hairstylists that are learning will be challenged to create a unique look using Mialisia jewelry. And number one, the students are going to be excited to have something to do that's different, and it's going to get them introduced to the concept. And you could run a contest if you wanted, or you can just say the winner of the best look will be featured on my Facebook page. So you could even give away a piece of jewelry, or just have it kind of bragging rights, like I won this. So have all of those designers create like an updo or a braid, or all the stylists create an updo or a braid using the jewelry, get pictures of all of that, and so you have just introduced the concept of the hooks to 20 or 30 women. And so if it's a little bit slow and you need contacts, that might be a fun thing to try. The other idea that I had is to try and connect with your local college or university students. And one thing that you can do is try and do a contest for the photography students at the college or university. And you're going to want to ask for the professor. Just call them up and say, can I talk to the professor who is over the advanced photography classes? And once you get a hold of them, it might take a little while, but just keep being persistent. Once you get a hold of them, tell them that this is a brand new emerging company. You're one of the founding designers in the area, and you have a project that these students can work on. And what you'll do is they'll probably have you come to one of the classes and you'll present the jewelry and tell them about it. They're going to really need to understand the concept because that's going to be what they're going to take a photo of, is give them the challenge to tell the story through photography of the concept of the hooks. And these college students, I mean, you're just focused on being creative all the time, and you will have some phenomenal results. And what this is going to give you is a lot of photos that you can post on social media. You'll want to get a release from the students to make sure that they're okay for you to use their work. You don't want to infringe on any copyright issues. So have the students do this assignment, and then you'll go back once they present their project to the professor, and then you get to judge and pick a winner. You could do a cash prize or, anything that you can think of to give these college students to kind of motivate them to give you their best work. And so, again, you have just educated, this class of photographers and also giving you some really powerful tools to build your brand. Starting up, we don't have a lot of resources, and so we need to think out of the box to figure out how we can find things by teaming up with other people in the community so that we can build our brand without having to put forth, too much capital. It's going to be great. So hopefully you guys can do that, and then tell all of the photographers that submit photos that you would like to use all of them, and they do it for portfolio reasons. So, post it on your blog. Try and do it in a print piece so then they can have that when they graduate and say, I did some work for this company, and it helps them in their career and in their portfolio. It strengthens their portfolio, so when they go to interview, they can say, you know what, this photographer has taken direction, they've completed a task, and their photos have been featured through an independent designer of this company. So it really helps them. I know that when I was in school, we were always looking for things to do projects on because you kind of have to make them up all the time, and so to have something tangible right there, they will just be ecstatic about that. Another idea to help strengthen your brand within your local community is to team up with a charity or a cause that's close to your heart. So it may be a local women's shelter, or maybe it's a children's hospital, or maybe it's a dog shelter, a shelter for pets. And ask them if you can team up with them to do a fundraiser or to just help them do a service project. So what you'll do is if you have team members close by, they can come and help you with that. Or you just advertise to all of your customers and to the community that Mialisia is helping this women's shelter, and we're going to go and fold blankets or, do whatever at this day and this time. And what you're going to want to do is take a lot of photos of while you're there and post it. And you can even contact your local newspaper and ask them to come and do a feature story. There are a lot of elementary schools that have needs for food for those children who only eat 5 days out of the week because they have school lunches. So what do they do on the weekend? So there are lots of different things that you can do. And what's going to happen is this is building your brand. So immediate sales may come, absolutely, but what it's doing is strengthening that brand of we are service-oriented, we are helping others, we are successful, we're here, people are joining us, people want to be a part of something that's successful. And so if they can see this energy building, they're going to want to be a part of that. And you're going to attract some really great new team members when you do things like this, because they're also going to be like-minded with you as far as service-oriented and wanting to build a positive image. And so these branding activities really will have far-reaching effects, and they'll also help everybody. So if I do a service project here in Syracuse, Utah, Jessica in Syracuse, New York, because of social media, it will also help her. So it's going to help you locally, but it's also going to strengthen the corporate brand because we are so new and people really don't know about Mialisia. That's going to give them a really great taste of the caliber of women and kind of our mission as a company. All right, so the second competitive advantage that I wanted to talk about is the story of Annalise. And this is huge, and this is going to strengthen your brand more than you will ever know. And why do we want to connect people to Annalise's story? You know, why is there power in that? It is powerful because it is real. She is a real-life person. She's not a character in a dramatic movie. And there's so much in our world today that isn't real. People love authenticity, and they're going to connect to it. And all of you that got to meet Annalise last week on the road trip know what an amazing woman she is, and she is the real deal. She is amazing. And this will increase your brand positively to other people because they know that they can trust you and they can relate to the company and its mission. And so I'm going to give you a few tips on how to connect people to Annalise's story. And the first one is to show people her photo every chance you get. In the Mialisia photo sharing site that I talked about on Facebook, there is that whole, and the photos are uploaded there as well. So you can order them through Walgreens, but you also have access to all of those photos just right there in an album. You can right-click, save them, and just share away. But there's a photo of Annalise. It's a 4x6, and print some. I have it on the front cover of all of my brag books. And I love to show people, this is Annalise, and tell them about her and tell them the story. And if you have met Annalise in person, share with them your experience. And every person that you see, you're going to want to share these experiences you've had with her and tell the story and talk about her qualities. And so you might be asking yourself, okay, why do I want to tell her story, over and over and over and over? Well, one huge reason we do this is it gives people hope. Hope to own their own infinite possibilities. And when I show people the infinity charm, I tell them that it has 3 meanings. And the first one, of course, is infinite possibilities for the jewelry. And if you've shown them the hooks, they know that you can create endless combinations. So that's the first meaning of the charm. The second one is when I tell them when they look at the charm, I want them to remember that there are infinite possibilities for their life. And on Friday, I was at my son's school. We were doing a fundraiser for a little boy down the street who has bone cancer. And there were about 5 or 6 10 to 11-year-old girls looking at the jewelry. And you know what it's like at that age. They're impressionable, and they're probably struggling with some sort of peer pressure, and obviously they don't think they're beautiful because of that study. Only 2% think they're beautiful. And so when they were looking at the jewelry, I picked up the charm, and I showed them, and I looked at them in the eyes, and I said, you have infinite possibilities for your life. And I could see the light in their eyes when they heard that. It went into their minds, and they started to believe it. And so when we need to teach all women and girls that they are powerful, that they have talents and gifts that they can bless the world with, and that they can help others with those talents and gifts. And I looked at those girls, and I told them to dream and that they could do anything that they wanted to. And then I showed them the picture of Annalise, and I said, look at her. She was a stay-at-home mom in the Midwest, and she created this amazing jewelry company that is now helping women all over North America. And I told them, if she can do it, so can you. And they loved the photo of Annalise. Of course they were saying how beautiful she was. And I told them, I said, yeah, she is beautiful, and she is sharing her gift, and she is helping women. And so I just hope that those 11-year-old girls left, that experience of looking at that jewelry and looking at Annalise and thinking, I can do that. I can dream, and I can help others, and I can do whatever I put my mind to. So that's the second thing I talk about when I show people the charm, is that there are infinite possibilities for their life. And you never know what situation people are in, and they might be in the middle of an adversity, something really hard, and hearing things like that can just really, help them and lift their spirits. Okay, so the third meaning of the charm that I tell them, of course, is you're of infinite worth, and that they're going to receive a card when they order their jewelry that says, you are of infinite worth, and you are of worth because you were born. You are worthy of love, and that you have great value, not because of what you've done or will accomplish in your life, or what you look like, or how much money you have. You are of worth because of who you are, and that worth does not diminish based on choices or what others say or do to you. That is innately your power and your gift, is that you are of infinite worth. So when I tell people, I show them this charm, and I tell them that it's a physical reminder of these abstract concepts, and it puts something tangible in front of them, that they can think of those things, and it will come to the front of their minds. And when men buy this jewelry for gifts, I love to tell them to either in person or get a card and write down on there that whenever Sarah, Bob is giving this to Sarah, whenever you look at this piece of jewelry, I want you to remember that my love for you is infinite. And every time you look at this jewelry and wear it, just remember how much I love you. And one example of the way someone could do this is if you know anyone who's getting married, they can wear, say, precious pearls in their hair, or a new trend is you wrap stones or jewelry around your bouquet. Or, of course, you could wear it as a bracelet or a necklace. And so she wears that on her wedding day with that infinity charm. And then every day after that, she can wear it again. I know I don't wear my bridal jewelry that I wore. It doesn't work. But our beautiful jewelry you can wear all the time. And so say it's a month down the road, the newlywed phase is over, and their first fight happens, and she can have that tangible reminder of, what, we're going to have hard times, but we can do this because I know that we love each other. So we can help people understand that this jewelry can be a physical reminder of being loved or of having infinite worth. And also, if I'm talking to a mom and she wants to get a gift for her daughter, I tell the mom, make sure you explain this to your daughter, that when she looks at it, she remembers that she's of infinite worth, and that as a mom, your love for her, there is an infinite amount of love, no matter what she does. As a crazy teenager, and, it's going to get hard, we know, and if you've lived through that, And so You want her to remember that no matter what, it's not what she does, it's who she is, that she is valuable and loved. So this little charm is one of the biggest competitive advantages that our jewelry has, and so you need to talk about it all the time. And so when people think about inspiring jewelry, we want Mialisia. It's going to come to their mind first. And so let's recap. So some of the biggest competitive advantages are the hooks, the concept of the hooks, and telling the story of Annalise. And you want to show people the photo of Annalise. She's a real person. You've met her or you've seen her on the videos, and encourage them to watch Annalise because she's so genuine and humble that just comes through immediately. Even when you're watching her on TV, it's a rare gift that it's warm and you can connect to her. So that's amazing because we can hit everybody in the world because we have this talented woman leading us who can connect with people through the screen. It's just amazing. And so I know that when I was so sick after I had my third boy and was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, I did feel worthless. And I now have come to know that my worth isn't just dependent on what I can do, but because I'm here. I am here, and because of that, I am worthy of love. And so this is one of my passions, is to share this message with others who are struggling. Okay, so I want to tell you this awesome story. I hope you saw it on the official Mialisia Facebook page, a picture of my aunt. And this is my Aunt Barrett, and she is 100% Norwegian, spent her early childhood in Norway, and so they are huge cross-country skiers. That country, its pride and joy is how great their cross-country skiers are. And so she would travel. She lives in Boise now, and she has a girlfriend, and they would travel around the world doing these cross-country skiing races. Just kind of for fun, and, oh, let's go to France, or this one was in Iceland. So this is my favorite story about one of her races. So she's with her friend in Iceland, and when it started, the race, it was okay, and they're like, oh, this isn't going to be too bad. And then my aunt said the wind just picked up. And she said it wasn't like a little wind. It was like gale force. Like you could barely move forward. And they just kept going, and a snowmobiler would come by and check on her and say, are you okay? And my aunt's like, yeah, I'm doing okay, but my friend's back there a little ways. She's in a red coat. Can you go check on her? And so he'd ride and go check on her friend, Patty. And so she just kept going. And she said that when she crossed the finish line, like they were literally taking down the race. Like there's no crowd, everybody's gone, they're taking down the finish line. And so then her friend comes about 20 minutes later. I mean, they're just exhausted because they finished this long race in this horrible wind. And they knew how slow they were because everybody was gone. So you had to, like, hitchhike a ride back to town because the bus had left them. So they go back to their hotel, and they get cleaned up, and then they're thinking, well, we're hungry. Let's go check out the banquet. Sometimes these banquets are great. They're going to have some food. So they're sitting there, and they're enjoying their food. And all of a sudden, this lady next to my aunt is like, hey, they're calling your name. And my aunt's like, what? What do you mean? And this lady's like, you won. And she's like, what? Like, literally, they were taking down the finish line. And, I was second to last. How in the world, could I win? And the lady says, we've never had anybody in your age group even finish the race. And so she was in the age bracket of women 50 and older. And she was the first woman to ever even finish the race. So she got first place. She has this trophy. And her friend Patty got second place. And so I just love this story because even when we're going through all this adversity, the wind is blowing and we're like, this is really hard and I'm never even going to win, just to keep going because you never know what's going to happen once you get past, that finish line. And that's the same way with branding as well. Just keep going. And the race may get hard, but you've done hard things before, and we can do it again. And so just never give up. You never know what's on the other end of that finish line. You may be the first person that has ever completed something, and you're going to, reap those benefits. And so I just want to leave you with a final thought today, is that there is a lot of hope and light and beauty in this world, and we are lucky enough to have been led to this great company, and we're going to see great success. And when we live an abundant life, that success is going to grow and grow, and in turn we'll be able to help others and also to help our own families. So thank you for letting me talk to you guys today.
Anna, that was so incredible. Thank you so much for doing that. I know that I loved hearing what you had to say, and I'm sure that it really helped everyone who is listening. So we'll go ahead and close out the call. Big silent round of applause for Anna. Thank you again so much for doing that.
You are welcome. And if anybody has any questions, just have them post on Facebook, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions people might have with, concerning information that I shared.
And take a look, and we don't have any questions right now, but tag Anna if you have a question. Ask her, and I'm sure that she'd be more than happy to answer. And of course, if you have any questions for corporate, feel free to call or email support. They are here for you. So we'll go ahead and close it off, and we'll talk to you all next week. Thanks again, Anna.